What's up, Don? Oh. What's going on in here?
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We interrupt this program to bring you a news bulletin. Check it out.
wook+mornings.
Went way too early. We're figuring it out. We will figure it out one day.
Maybe.
Faithful viewers. So we were going to start off with My Morning Jacket, but I just saw this thing, and I have to ask you, T. The Tron movie, whatever it's called, Tron Acres or Archer
Ares.
or whatever. Ares.
Acres.
They spent $220 million. Well, that would make sense. $220 million, a long bicycle race to do the movie. They spent $102 million on marketing. Is this normal?
I mean, bigger movies get bigger marketing campaigns. So yeah, that's a lot though in today's everything economy and budgets and movies, the way things are. It's pretty huge. I feel like it's such a niche movie. Like Tron was never.
It's never making that money back.
Well, no, and Tron was never, even like the original, back in the day, even when it got cult status and started like getting, popular when they did Legacy, what was that, like 15 years ago or something? Like the second one, the sequel finally came out, which was
I love the first one, but you know what the brilliance of the first one was? It had an arcade game, and you didn't have a console at home or anything. You went to the arcade to play the game, and people were waiting in line to get on that.
The arcade game was kind of like the movie too. It was like, okay, it wasn't awesome, but it was like,
but the combination of the two.
Right. And the thing you really liked were the light cycle races. Like that was the part of the game that everybody liked playing, was that part, and part of the movie. So like, even when they did the sequel, it didn't quite measure up to the first one. You know why? Because the first one, it's a good sci-fi movie. And it's, like I said, cultish and like whatever, but it never got into like that sci-fi realm of Star Wars or Star Trek or like a big thing.
It wasn't anchored to something,
right, where we needed a sequel and where it explained, because when it came out too, it was so early in like the computer age of things, and like what it did, the first movie was phenomenal the way it was filmed. If you ever like look up the way it was filmed, because it was layered, it wasn't CGI, it was like they shot it and then they went in and painted it and reshot it, and like, so it was really well done. And in fact, the Oscars didn't nominate them because they didn't think it was done by hand. They thought it was CGI, so they like disqualified it for like winning, even though it was phenomenal. And then the second one was all CGI, and this one was heavy CGI. But
did CGI exist? When was that came out? 82, 81, like the original one? I mean, I was young. I had to have someone take me to the movies. I was that young to see it. My grandfather took me, and he was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I think for kids, when I saw it, it was mind-blowing in just the way the lights, because again, like, yes, we were young. I was like 8 or something when I was like 74, 82, whatever the hell that is. Yeah, 8. Oh, I did that in my head quickly. So you're just like blown away by the lights and sort of the story. And Jeff Bridges' character is always good in everything, especially when you're like, I mean, still today, but even when you're younger, he just had that like way. And so even though you didn't understand it, like getting sucked into the computer and the master control and like what it all meant, even this one was a little clear. And I gotta be honest, like I went and saw it and I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty well done. The music, the 9 Inch Nails soundtrack is phenomenal. I mean, it's basically a giant music video is what it feels like. Like if it wasn't for the soundtrack and the music in it and the drone music and stuff, it wouldn't be the same. But it's pretty dope. And even Jared Leto, for like, I'm not a huge fan of his, he's pretty good in it. Like he was actually decent, and everybody kind of gave him shit about his acting and stuff. But I thought the way he acted was really good in it.
How much does story matter when you have an IMAX and all these effects and stuff like that? Is it sometimes just going and being immersed in all the effects and everything that you don't need a Casablanca, solid story underneath it?
I think it goes both ways, because look at like The Matrix. And that story combined with the special effects and shit was so mind-blowing the first time you saw it. You were like, holy crap. Like The Matrix is what Tron should have been. Like it did a good job of explaining the realities and like,
and it made you want the second one. As soon as you were done the first one, you're like, where
is the second one? But then with that one, even the second and third one fell so flat. Like it wasn't nearly what it was going to be. So
it
to your
wasn't
point,
groundbreaking anymore. It was no
and
longer
to your point, the
groundbreaking.
stories weren't that good. The stories
Right.
got a little more muddled and confused and didn't make sense like the first one did. So yes, to your point, it does kind of matter in the storyline, and at least enough to, you know, kind of go through the hero's journey, or at least give me the 3 acts that make sense, that you're not completely confused by act 2, and then act 3 is just so muddled, and maybe there's a conclusion or a cliffhanger because then there's going to be another one. And so it's weird, and they definitely set this up to have another one. What was fun about this Tron was they kind of threw it back into the nostalgia era, and like the guy Dillinger, who was the bad guy in the first one, this is his great grandkid, and they're back to sort of that, the villain against them, and like, so it had a lot of that like nostalgia feel. Honestly, it wasn't terrible. I'm sad to see it's going to lose that much money, because now I'm sure they won't do another one. But it also didn't make a lot of sense in the first place to do this one, and the story is better than the second one. But again, Kev, it's confusing, and nerds aren't going to appreciate it because it doesn't like get into the nerddom. Half nerds aren't going to want to see it because it kind of is too confusing as it is, and the regular public is going to maybe see Jared Leto and some cool effects, but the story's so bad that once you hear about it, you're like, I'll just watch it on streaming. Like, why do I need to go pay $30 to go to a movie to watch it when it'll be on Disney Plus in a couple weeks and I can just watch it then?
Right. Jared Leto. I want to not like him, but wasn't he the Joker?
Yeah, and the DCU.
I know people trashed that movie, but I loved it. It was like some demented musical. It was just weird for the sake of being weird, and I thought he did great with it.
Yeah. And I'm the same way with him. Like, he's so weird sometimes and does some of the weirdest shit, but then he pulls out some performances or does things so outright, and you're like, okay, I gotta respect that. I gotta like that. And even his 30 Seconds to Mars, like the fact that he's crossed over into that, he's almost like a cult figure though. Like, he has this compound up in the hills, and like there's all these like rumors of underage girls that he's like, whatever, like all of that kind of crap. I don't want to like whatever, but he has that weird sense to him, but he's also seems like a very artistic savant in ways, right? So I don't know.
I miss a lot of that pop culture gossip stuff. Sometimes I watch TMZ because the guy's very funny. Whoever that
Harvey
dude is. Yeah, Harvey. I like that guy. He's so cool. Seems very down to earth, very as absurd what he does is. It seems a little grounded there.
It's funny. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It sucks. It's going to be considered a failure. And yes, to your original question, Kev, spending that much on marketing, you either know it's going to be good and want to push out as much as it can, or you're trying to get an audience to come see it and spending a ton. And they did do a ton. Like, it was kind of everywhere in things. And again, it kind of made sense though, because you could do so much with it, right? Like the Ares theme and like the computer theme and things like that. You could really put it in a lot of things. But
we could have done it for half as much and put 40 million in our pockets.
I'm sure there'll be a couple people losing their jobs over the budgets and the
whoever the advertising agency is. They're going to be like, oh, nobody's going to them again. Oh, they're the Tron people. No thanks.
Right. Well, you know, it's amazing how fast things come and go. Like, one of my old studios that I worked in, that my company Storm moved into in Venice, was the people that moved out did all the special effects in the last Star Trek movie. And you're like, oh, wow, that company should have been like, and this was years and years ago, right? But you're like, oh, wow, that company should have been like, that's a huge account and that's a huge movie. Like, what? And they're like, yeah, they went bankrupt like right after that. And you're like, oh, damn. And it's even the volume, this office space that we're working on for Volume. You know, it used to be an animation company.
Okay.
And when they moved out, they left. They gave them the choice to leave a bunch of their equipment. So they did. And they left. I mean, they left this whole studio, these lights, these phenomenal lights and gear and computers and cameras and all this stuff. And it just shows that, like, you never know. Like, and they made games and like I told, they have this.
Dude, if you own that company, though, wouldn't you have like called someone to come buy it as a lot and at least get something? I mean,
That's what I said.
can't
I
leave
was like,
money
I
on the
can't imagine
table.
the stuff that they did take if this is the stuff they left. And second of all, like, to not have the effort or want to deal with it. And you're just like, you know what? We could sell all these lights to somebody,
Right.
instead of just leaving them here as part of like the wrap up. But thank God
Right.
they did, because it's made building that studio freaking phenomenal. So,
The next
but things like
people-
that, it's crazy the way it happens, because 1 minute you're like the hottest company making the coolest game, and then 3 years later you're bankrupt and all your employees are fired and you're screwed. So
Right.
it's so weird. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. Someone who has never been fired is My Morning Jacket. And they played 3 nights at the Brooklyn Paramount. I guess was the end of their tour, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was the last 2 nights of tour.
Right, the last 3 nights. But yeah, we're going to talk about the last 2, because the last 2 nights Karina Rykman came out. Night 2 of 3. It was the 20th anniversary of their album Z, and apparently they did some rare tracks, Nashville to Kentucky, something called Remnants. Not that familiar with them, but you know what's weird? I'm reading up on them last night, and they pop up on Austin City Limits, and I was like, that's kind of rocking. I was like, look at you guys. So maybe I've been missing some. But what I found interesting, did I'll Be Your Mirror from the Velvet Underground for the first time, and then when they brought Karina out, they did For Whom the Bell Tolls, and she also played on a song of theirs, Cobra, which is interesting because the next night she came out and played on Fairies Wear Boots from Sabbath.
Yeah.
Both metal songs. If you remember the heavy metal Grateful Dead band Truckin' from a few years back? That guy who was in that band, I'm like totally spacing his name at the second, used to play with Karina in a metal band. She used to work for him. So she has a history with that. And I love that that's what she's coming out to do, instead of it being the jam queen kind of thing. She's out there, I'm going to rock it,
No, yeah. I love that. I love when she plays some of the, like, she has such a great catalog, even in her own concerts, when she does like Daft Punk is playing at my house, and then like busts into like I love the way she goes in and out of her covers, and the ones that she does cover, you're always like, oh, that's an interesting cover. Like, I wouldn't expect someone to throw that in the middle of their banging like set, but awesome. Right. So I love it, and I love when she comes out with other bands and makes little guest appearances, because she just rips and she just has the best time on stage. She's so rad. So good for them. And actually their tour, it's got 8 more shows in the Midwest and Southeast through November 1st. So there are a few more shows, but yeah, and it seems like I don't know, whenever you're in like New York and you kind of go through New York area, it's always wise to like give Karina a call and see if she's available to come guest star with your band.
She was on Live years ago with Baker.
Years ago, and it's one of the worst nights of my life, because my boss called right when we got on the interview, and I was gone like the entire interview, and it was like I was so pissed, like my 2 favorite people in the world to get to talk to, and I missed the entire thing. Like,
that's all right. I called her Katrina.
You get? I remember that.
You rode my ass about it, and I was like, good for you.
Our biggest mistake was not having her on again and following up with her and doing a couple of things we wanted to do with her. And
now she's moved on to things like Stub Me Down and
right, exactly. She's gone beyond bigger and better things beyond us. And I miss Baker so much.
We love Stub Me Down.
We love those guys. We're doing
just throwing a little shade at the guys.
And I gotta say too, we love Baker. I love Baker. Baker's one of my favorite people in the world. I miss her and Missy doing the damn after shows. That was one of my favorite things we ever did, and that was what set us to do the Fish after shows. If it wasn't for them paving that lane for us, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing.
Because we got bigger numbers, even though it was 3 women doing it as opposed to a bunch of dudes. But yes, we saw that the numbers were bigger for that, and the brilliant businessmen that we are.
Yeah, and then we took it over. But for a while there, I mean, it did numbers because they were hilarious and they were so fun to listen to and to hear.
But they never talked about the show. They just talked about random.
About whatever. But that one was so funny. It was such a great little and that was so perfect post show. Like it really filled that gap. It was so fun. But yes, Karina and Baker, 2 of our favorites. I definitely miss them both. I miss Baker so much. I wish we could get her back on. She's too busy for us these days. What else you got?
All right, you skipped for a second. That's the first time I've ever had a skip on this new computer.
Oh.
Or was it? Maybe it was Yo. I'm going to blame it on Yo. Sam Grisman, man, doing 3 shows, 3 really special shows, and none of them anywhere near me, and nowhere near you. It's Massachusetts, New Hampshire, and Maine. There you go, Sully. But it's Grisman, Sam Grisman, obviously dog David Grisman's son, with Tim O'Brien from Hot Rise and various other things. Just a fantastic singer-songwriter, probably resurrected bluegrass, newgrass single-handedly with Hot Rise. And then Victor Furtado, who is just a fantastic banjo player that I guess Sam has played with before. I wish that I could see it. I hope that it gets streamed. I know that Tim O'Brien's probably older now because Hot Rise was around in the 80s. So, you know, I like to think of the 80s as being a few years back, but in reality,
Gav, in reality, what was the thing I just read that like in 5 years the 80s are gonna be 50 years ago or something? Is that what I read? Yeah. Is that God? I'm crushing my math today, but
dude, next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of the first time I saw the Grateful Dead.
40.
I never thought I'd make it to 40. Let alone
God.
It's killing me.
Man, dude. But you know, doesn't it feel like, and I know other people have mentioned this and brought this up, that's why it's in my brain, but like, doesn't it feel like when we hit like, I don't know, even the year 2000 and 1950 didn't feel that long ago, but even growing up like in the 80s, yeah, the 30s were forever ago, but they didn't, like, you still had like this connection to them, or like 50 years ago didn't feel like in the 90s, the 40s didn't feel 50 years. I mean, they did, but it didn't seem like the way
that
the
was
80s.
My granddad listening to like Glenn Dorsey or something on the radio,
right? And you still felt connected to it because of all the World War II shit, and like it was still like not like you still went to like it's such a big part of learning in college and high school, World War II, and then Vietnam and stuff, and those big wars that were there. It kind of connected you to the past, and yes, through your grandparents and like your parents and stuff. But now I just feel like there's such a giant disconnect between the past and the present.
It's like post internet and pre-internet, or maybe you could even say post smartphone and pre-smartphone, but I think it started with the internet. But having the phones, I think, made everything instant. Our lives are lived instantly for everyone else, and then it's forgotten 10 minutes later.
I think that's the biggest thing, is it's forgotten 10 minutes later. And we're in such a fast cycle, even with the news and stuff. Everything's trained us to be 10 minutes and over. You know, I mean, it was crazy when that earthquake happened in Japan, and like so quickly after that we had moved on. And you're like, wait, what's going on over there? Like what happened with that plant? You know, like the news cycle moves so fast that, I mean, even today, just a weird example, and I don't want to go down this hole, but like the Charlie Kirk assassination was not even that long ago, and you hear nothing about it anymore. Like you don't hear anything about the assassin, even the Trump's assassination. You never hear anything about that. Back in the 80s when Reagan got the assassination attempt on him,
Hinckley.
Yeah, and you still hear about Hinckley and Jodie Foster's army and all that shit.
He got out, isn't he, on Twitter?
I think so, yeah, right?
Jodie
and these two guys that shot Trump and Charlie Kirk, you hear nothing about. It's like it's just gone, and the news cycle's moved on, and you're just like, wait, can we go back a second? And you're like, no, the machine just keeps churning forward.
There used to be this great punk band called Jodie Foster's Army.
That was it. Totally. I had a sticker on my skateboard. My old Vision skateboard had a JFA sticker, Jodie Foster's Army.
Oh, love it. So did you know that Don Was Not Was fame and Wolf Brothers fame has never released an album with him as the band leader frontman on it?
That's crazy. What was Not Was?
Well, it was him and somebody else, and they both had last name Was. And that was all part of the joke of what they did. I don't think Was is really his last name.
Interesting.
But so he's releasing an album called with the Pan Detroit Ensemble called Groove in the Face of Adversity. Actually, I guess it came out 10 days ago or so. They did a few shows in Virginia and Georgia this past week, but in January they're doing a headlining tour. You know, but the thing is, he's predominantly known as a producer and sideman. Was Not Was had a hit in 83, 84, maybe even a little later in the 80s. And then
they had a good album out then too. And they had what, like, I Feel Better Than James Brown.
Yes.
I remember that song so well.
It was all a joke. It was very campy, and it had that whole thing. And then he became a sideman and a producer. He runs Blue Note Records. I mean, so I just find it fascinating. I have not listened to it, but they are playing Ardmore. They're playing the Blue Note, Ardmore, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and then in Morgantown.
Yeah, they go through Michigan, North Carolina. They start in North Carolina, Georgia, and then 4 shows at the Blue Llama Jazz Club in Michigan, in Ann Arbor. Blue Llama Jazz Club. 2 shows. Well, 4 shows, I guess. 2 a night.
2 shows each night.
Yeah.
2 drink minimum.
Drink minimum. And then same thing with that Blue Note. There's an 8 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. show. So two shows that one night. But yeah, that's super cool. That'd be a fun, it'd be a pretty cool thing to check out. I love the smaller venues and the jazz clubs.
I love that it's leaning on the Detroit thing, which is his, you know, where he got his start, I guess. So,
yeah.
So there you go. Another soulful thing that's popped up, Soulive. We keep talking about Soulive because 2 years ago, Alan told me he wasn't playing drums anymore, and here they are putting out an album. I guess the single's called Baby Jupiter from Flowers. It's fantastic. First full length since 2011. And wow, they recorded it in Iceland, I believe, at the same studio that, you know, he produced or had part of O'Teal's thing that was recorded up there. He was part of that. So I think that drove them back there. Dude has to be mowing the lawn. Gonna need to get some of that bubble. What's that stuff you put on the walls?
Yeah. They confirmed they're going to do a live show in 2026 at Alpha Punk, January 30th at the Center for the Arts in Crested Butte, Colorado. So if you can get to Crested Butte, you can see Soulive.
We're gonna have to look into. We're gonna have to look into Alpenfunk. That sounds like a festival kind of thing to talk about.
It does. That really does. We need to look into that and see if maybe we can get volume to stream that. That's so cool though. Like, looking at the picture of them is really funny, man. Like, obviously you've seen Krasno so much because he's everywhere these days playing with everyone. So you've seen him age through, and been a part. So you kind of like know what he looks like. But looking at the brothers, holy moly, I'm like, oh my God, they look so old. What? No. Oh, I still remember them so young and like wild. And now they look so old.
What was that Moon Boot Lover? That was originally where Alan and his brother were, I think, got their start. And then I just wonder how much, I mean, listening to the song they dropped, okay, I can feel that works in with their legacy. I'm wondering how much 15 years of not recording and Alan producing hundreds of other artists, Krasno playing with everybody, how that's going to affect what it sounds like.
I would hope makes it awesome and not, because like you said, they're so professional now and they've been around for so long doing stuff. So
you don't want to end up being a nostalgia band all of a sudden. So it's good that they're putting the album out, and they did some live shows this past summer, right?
Yeah. And I feel like I don't know if you can be a nostalgia act when you haven't played that long. Like, I don't know. I think it's cool coming back and doing, because they really haven't been around.
People are going to expect what they heard 15, 20 years ago.
Oh, right. Yeah, in that way, yeah. And it won't quite be that sound, but you're still getting classic Soulive. Yeah. I'm sure it's still them, Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's cool. It's awesome. And never say never. I love when bands are like, we'll never do this again, or I'm never going to do that again. And then who knows?
There they
Something
are.
either the love comes around again and you're like,
Calling
I
you
miss
the
playing
hill.
with you guys, or it's like I got some bills I need to pay, you know. But like either way, bring it
Calling up
back.
the hill.
Bring it back.
Yup.
And who knows? Maybe they'll be like God Street and sound fucking rad and pick up right where they left off. And
I
it'll
think
be
they
awesome.
will. They're just consummate musicians. You know?
They are. They are. Like
I think Alan's a really good guitar player. I think he would probably rather play guitar than drums.
Yeah, probably. It's funny how that works.
Another festival we blew it on was the Ramble Festival that was in Darlington, Maryland. We need to be on this one next year. It had dogs playing pigeons. Chris Jacobs, who used to be in The Bridge years ago and has had a pretty successful solo career. He popped up with Ivan Neville in a band for a while and things like that. But they had a, one of those let's get everybody together things, ensemble things called the Ramble Band. And it was Brian Murray and Jimmy Law and Chris Jacobs were there with Alex from Pigeons playing ping pong. And they did like Help on the Way, Slipknot, Stranger, Estimated. I mean, all the hits there. And they also had replica guitars.
Yes, I see that. He was playing on Bobby's BWM1.
Yeah, the
Beanies, yeah.
And then Jimmy Law and Chris Jacobs both had Rosebud replicas, which is neat. Good for them. That sounds so fun, right?
Totally. Really gets you into the feel of the Dead and the sound and like I think it's cool. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And they had Destiny Provinca come out for Eyes of the World and Peggy A on saxophone. So you got your that's kind of become a thing with Eyes on the World. You want to get a sax player out there because Bradford put such a mark on it. Super Jam, that's what I was looking for. I'm like, when they have a bunch of people and it's an improvisational thing. It makes me happy that the Grateful Dead are still so prevalent that almost any festival you get, you're going to get a Dead cover. You're going to get a band covering the Dead, when back in the 80s and 90s, Dead cover band was kind of a dirty word if you were a musician.
Very. And nobody really wanted to tread those waters, right. It was such a don't go there type thing too, especially when they were still alive. Nobody wanted to go, like when Jerry was still around, nobody wanted to go there. After that, it kind of opened the door up, but even then it was still a little touchy because you didn't want to tread on that and be like, oh, we're taking this spot, or oh, we'll play these songs now. And you're like, yeah. I think over the years especially with Dead and Co coming out and like other good bands, like DSO has always been good, but like what's his name, Joe Russo's almost dead. They're so good that like you have to give credence to the ones that are good and be like, okay, so Dead cover bands aren't such a bad thing.
How much traction do you think Fish cover bands get? We've had a couple people on over the years from different bands, Runaway Jim, Runaway Gin, and some others. You hear about it like Reprise. Reprise is really trying hard to do the Dark Star kind of thing and recreate shows there. And I feel like they're getting a little traction, but if they're playing the 8x10, I can't say that I would rent a car and go down and see.
Low ceiling is what they have with that. Like low, you're not gonna.
Fish is still playing, right? Is that a part of it?
I mean, you can, right? I think so, and I think they're doing a smart thing in playing old classic shows, front to back, which is smart, and not just doing like Fish songs covers as a band and covers. So like you're recreating something that people can like feel a part of or be like, oh, I missed that show, but I listen to it all the time and I'm getting to see you guys play it live is so cool. But like, yeah, I think that's part of it. And you need to find something like that, right? Like find the niche inside of that to make it your own and do it your own way and do that. So I don't know. Hopefully Fish is a tough one too, because it's such a unique lyrics and songs and things that like, I don't know, someone else covering them. It just doesn't.
The Grateful Dead have a more universal, I think, appeal.
That and the songs you're a little more used to, and they fit like in with a lot of bands and like sets and repertoire, and you can get away with like throwing a deal in the middle of your set or throwing, you know what I mean? Whereas you
want an
don't really,
acoustic version of something,
right? Whereas you're not really throwing a divided sky in the middle of your set, and everyone's getting, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just kind of an odd,
right?
It's different.
Another album that came out is Steve Martin and Alison Brown. Yes, that's Steve Martin. It is a banjo album, and here we have Tim O'Brien pop up again, but also Jason Mraz, Vince Gill, Jackson Browne, who I feel like we are witnessing a renaissance of Jackson Browne with Jason Crosby playing with him and the shows he's been doing and pulling out the deep cuts and things like that. I'm psyched for that. Good for him. But yeah, so it's a bunch of banjo
Molly
songs.
Tuttle.
Yeah, Molly Tuttle, man. I haven't heard anything. It just popped up and I was like, well, I always knew the guy played banjo.
Yeah.
Steve Martin. And he's just, I hope when I'm his age, I'm like, oh, I got a TV show. I'm working on a movie over here. I got my banjo album coming out. I mean, what's up, dude?
It's pretty impressive, right? Like, it's really impressive. Oh, wow. It says Dear Time features Jeff Hanna of Nitty Gritty Band and folk legend Jackson Browne, who joined Martin and Brown to film the music video at the legendary Troubadour in Los Angeles, where both Steve and Jackson launched their careers in the 60s. That's pretty cool to check that out. But yes, I mean, Steve Martin is just, he's like when he used to do the banjo as part of his comedy routine was fucking hilarious. Like, talk about a random instrument too. It ain't the easiest thing to learn and play, right? So like that's really funny, and that he does it like so professionally now, and like not like as a joke, but like for real. And I think he needs to pair up with Billy Strings. Like, when do we get the Billy Strings Steve Martin?
There you go.
Crossover
come out.
That'll really turn some heads and get some publicity for both those guys, right? Like that would be a lot of fun.
We shouldn't gloss over Miss Brown either. She is a banjo virtuoso, to say the least there. And yeah, I love it. They have the rock, they have, Sam Bush, Stuart Duncan kind of thing, Molly Tuttle, they have the more traditional bluegrass thing. So wow, good for them.
Yeah, it's awesome. Check that out.
I didn't see anywhere that it was going to actually tour.
Yeah, I didn't say anything about that, just that the album's out. But maybe he'll play some, one of those like LA, New York, Chicago type things with random venues, I think we need a bill too with Steve Martin's band opening with Jeff Goldblum's band, the Mildred Snitzer Orchestra, which is also a great band and a fun time to see. Like, I love some of these actors that have crossed over into not just like pop or rock or something, but found these other smaller niches to get into, like jazz. And I mean, Steve's always been in banjo, but bluegrassy and like a little outside the mainstream. It's cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look where Bela's taking the banjo.
Mm-hmm.
It's a world you've never seen. So did you see Mo's set list from the other night?
Yeah.
From Saturday night?
Most set list spell something?
Yes, they do. It was the No Kings rally if you're under a rock. And a lot of people were out doing their thing, exercising their First Amendment rights under the Constitution. And Mo decided to exercise theirs. I don't know who wrote the set list. They rotate. Different band members write it each night. But the first set spelled F. If you drop off Stranger, then it was Stranger Than Fiction. And then Trump. They spelled Trump. The second set was No Kings. And then Have a Cigar, which I guess is a great little nod there for an encore, and good for them. I mean, I'm only bringing it up because I do like to see a band make a statement. I don't expect bands to make a statement, but when you do something fun like this, it's a good way to make a statement. It gets a conversation going.
I agree. I think it's a fun. I miss I don't want to say I miss them doing it, Fish doing it, but I always liked the silliness in those kind of things and like trying to spell like whatever and finding a theme in them and stuff. Because we always, I mean, me, I'm big on the stories of the set list and stuff. And I like it when it's a little more hidden and nuanced, but it's also kind of fun sometimes when it's just right in your face and it's like, look, we're spelling this out, and you're like, yay, cool. Something like this is fun too because it's a protest and it's a cool way to like get that out there in an easy way. So good for them. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. So Geese, not Goose, is doing
Geese.
something to try to change the fact that their $35 tickets they sold are $500 on resale platforms. So they partnered with CashorTrade, who have, probably fairly gotten a bunch of crap since they redid their app and things just aren't what it used to be. But basically, Geese have redirected all their official ticket links to CashorTrade profile, where fans can buy, sell, and trade tickets at face value. So
yeah. This is awesome. Like, this is like awesome. And to kick off the initiative, CashorTrade is offering an exclusive ticket drop for 2 sold-out Geese shows, the 26th at Wonder Ballroom in Portland and 31st Halloween show in San Diego. You can score face value tickets to these sought-out dates on their official CashorTrade page, which is awesome. This band is phenomenal in the way that they are, like, first of all, just barnstorming the country and taking over sort of, I mean, they're being called Gen Z's first great American rock band, which is fantastic. Like, I love that.
Let me ask you something here. Hold that thought for a second, because this has been bothering me with this whole thing.
Okay.
They offer exclusive ticket drops, right? But it's a sold out show.
Right. So I think it's probably getting some of those resale tickets or something.
Right. Are they taking them back for people?
I don't know.
That would be cool. I've always wanted to see a band go on to StubHub, find everybody scalping their tickets and revoke all those tickets and refund
them
money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I did interrupt you there. I'm sorry.
Ban them, revoke them. All of it. I was just looking at their tour too. Their this tour, well, it goes through November, and then they have 2 dates for next year. They have a March date in Boise at the Treefort Music Fest, which I guess we're gonna also have to look up now, Kev. The Treefort Music Fest at Julia Davis Park, and then the granddaddy. Well, I guess Bonner is the granddaddy, but the cousin of the aunt and uncle of festivals, they're playing Coachella next year, which will be huge too, which is awesome. So
huge. There's a festival you and I had mentioned yesterday when we were talking, when we were young festival, and you had mentioned Weezer, and I guess someone came out and played with them that I have never heard of before. Blondshell.
Oh yeah, at the festival.
Yes. Do you know Blondshell?
I do not.
Apparently this is a big thing. She's a younger person there. It's killing me that they're calling this When We Were Young and it's a 90s thing. I was in my 20s in the 90s. I was no longer young, really.
No longer. You were already
I was already old when I was in my 20s. You know that song. I'm older than that. Blondshell is an indie rock apparently artist. It's a woman. It's a her. Well, at least that's what the papers say. We don't want to I don't want to say the wrong thing. My kid told me I should always say they, no matter what. No matter who it is.
No matter who it is.
And you can't go wrong. And I was like, you're a smart kid there. So anyway, I just thought it was neat that we had mentioned it yesterday and then it popped up.
Yeah, and I mean there's a lot of people that go. I mean, there was like 50,000 people, I think, at that festival. They have 53 bands that play over the weekend, which is
how many stages? That's 10 stages.
There's only 2. There's only 2 stages set up.
Half-hour sets.
See, I mean, 2 big stages. I don't know if there's how many sides, but I know there's 2 big ones. I don't think there's a whole lot of side stages. That there's a lot because it's just kind of in the Vegas festival grounds right there.
Do indie bands play shorter sets though? I know I went and saw Soccer Mommy. She had 3 people open up for her, and she played her hour exactly as it was, and it included the encore, which is fine. I wanted to see her do those songs. I'm probably never see her again, but at that moment, I guess indie bands are more like that. It's a 45-minute hour set instead of a jam festival where it's like, oh man, I need 2 sets, at least 3.5 hours.
Right. Nobody does that. Like indie bands are, And the fun thing about the Vegas shows is it's kind of like Jazz Fest, where they do play like Brooklyn Bowl or like other shows around the weekend too, and like a late night show, or like I know All Time Low did a free show on Fremont Street the Friday night before the festival started, and so like they do things like that too, where I think they can change up the set list a little bit and not play obviously the same thing they're going to play the next night. But yes, it is very similar. Yes, it is a lot shorter. I mean, when you're playing a 45-minute set or an hour set, you can get through 53 bands a lot easier than when you're, got a band up there trying to play 2 sets and take up.
If you're smart enough to cut down in between to a half hour, the one thing of that last festival I went to, it was an hour in between each.
Yeah, it's
they had a side stage where they had a woman dressed up in German gear playing an accordion, which was actually really cool because she did the Merry Christmas polka, and I was like, I know that song. I know that one.
Yeah, that's the other time too. Like with you want them back to like so something like this. I think it's pretty back to back to back to back, like one stage to the next. So,
right? Does Green Day fall into the vibe of that festival?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's as much as Weezer does, because there's always like yes, and Blink 182, and it's all those kind of bands. So yes, I mean Weezer's a little outside
more
of
nerdy.
that.
They're a little more mathy, nerdy.
Yeah,
which is fine. Good for
yeah.
them. We need that. Oh, I brought up Green Day because apparently they have the biggest rock album of the 21st century with American Idiot. It has 2.6 million chart units in the UK, which is both physical and digital streams.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know. I know the songs. I know American Idiot. I know the September song that's a meme every year.
Right.
Wake Me When September's Over or whatever it's called.
I mean, but you look at like, Weezer's working on, I'm just reading this thing. Weezer's working on a film about their lives. It's been described as a mix between Scott Pilgrim and the Weird Al Yankovic story.
Nice. See, that's what we need. We need a Weezer film. I'm not that huge on them, but I would check that out.
Totally. But what's great is just to reiterate your point. They played a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 song set. My Name is Jonas, Hasspipe, Surf Wax America, Undone, Island in the Sun, Pink Triangle, Beverly Hills, Just Throughout the Love of My Dreams with Blondshell, Pork and Beans, Say It Ain't So, Buddy Holly. I mean, that's the thing about Weezer. You go see them, it's a run through of all their songs are best hits. Like they're not pulling crap like third song off the album. Like, oh, I can't believe they're playing that. It's run through. You sing everything with them. They jam, they rock. And when it's just them, it's obviously a little bit longer show and you get more out of it. This is a perfect festival set though. I mean, it's perfect. I'm sorry. It's perfect.
I'm a fan of that. Sometimes all you need is 45 minutes from a band.
Yeah.
And you could be like, I love that 45 minutes. And if they played another 45 minutes, I would be pulling my hair out.
Right. It's perfect. It's almost like what we say sometimes with the micro jams and Fish, right? Like just give me that 8-minute song. Bam, you're done. Awesome. Perfect compact version. I don't need it to be 15 minutes.
Yeah. And I guess we're going to wrap up here with Anthony Jackson. Did you see that he passed? He is a bass player, helped create the 6-string bass and revolutionize music. First song he played bass on that was a #1 hit was Me and Mrs. Jones by Billy Paul. He played on Gaucho. He played with the OJs, several albums with Al Di Meola. One of the first people that fought against bass, like electronic basses that you make on a computer. He said, I'll always be better than a computer. You know, he had a little chip on his shoulder. That's why I like him, but he passed away. So I just wanted to send a shout out to his fans, his family. I think if you look back at some old records, you're going to be like, wow, he played on that.
Well, yeah, for sure. You always like when that happens. That's awesome.
You know, they called him a bassist. So
that's great.
The 6-string bass. He took the bass from being just him and Phil Lesh from being a bump in the background to being a complementary instrument to the guitarist or keyboards that are playing in a more jazz sense, grafted onto the rock world. So For the Love of Money is the OJ's tune. that he played. I'm sure that everybody knows that. What You Gonna Do for Me, Shaka Khan.
Nice.
Anyway, IGY from Donald Fagen. That's cool. Very
That's
nice.
cool. Nice.
Very, very nice. And oh wait, we did have one more thing because Trey Anastasio, sax player, you might have seen him on Saturday Night Live. You didn't realize, did you?
I did not. It was so funny too because yes, if you watched it, it was so funny because she's singing Man Child like in its bedroom set, and he like walks across the stage and like goes off camera and then comes back on and like stands there and does his sax solo. It was just so funny the way he just like cruises across the stage. You're like, what's going on? And then he like comes back and does his sax solo.
In pajamas.
Totally did not recognize him. Totally did not recognize. I think because I was so confused by what was going on. I was just like, what is happening? Totally didn't recognize him until you said that thing. I was like, holy shit, yeah, that was him. Yeah.
Oh, what have you seen about the show? I feel like some people are not completely on board with Sabrina Carpenter doing this.
She's funny. She's pretty good. I'm not a big fan of guests also being the musical guests because it's like a lot of them.
It's only happened like 10 times, hasn't it, or something? It hadn't happened often.
It doesn't have a lot. Like Paul Simon was always the best. Like certain people like
McCartney.
Yeah, and can get away with doing it.
You played with the
hosting
Beatles.
and singing, but you need that break. I feel like it's a nice like palate cleanser to not have the host constantly on that you're looking at the entire show. So she was good though. She's fun. I mean, I don't know. Her songs
Good
are
for her.
whatever.
I am all about it. I like that there are women out there who are powerful, who have taken control of their careers, who are making music that might not be my cup of tea, but for a lot of people who are pushing boundaries, because if you get the old white people upset about your music, I am all for you because you're obviously doing something right.
Good job. And she's not apologetic about it. She's like, I'm a horny 20-something-year-old girl, and like my songs reflect that. So like, fuck off, and I think that's great. I think that's you own it and do it. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Two other things real quick we'll run through. Little Feat's Bill Payne and Fred Taggart joined Tedeschi Trucks Band in Charlotte. Another stop and another guest. Like this tour is just guests heavy. Like I feel like every stop they make, more people
they're like,
on
get it
stage
while
with
you
them
can.
And play.
I'm
awesome.
surprised anybody from Little Feat is alive. God bless them for still being out there on the road, man.
Yeah, right.
They put out a new album this year. They put out a new album.
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. And did you see Rush has added 17 additional cities to their tour?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Baltimore?
Philly, Detroit, Montreal, Boston, Denver, Seattle, San Jose, DC, Charlotte, Atlanta, Edmonton, and Vancouver.
DC, we're in DC. The fucking variety
does not say where, but
although the only place is where the Wizards play basketball, and that place you get vertigo. It's like one of those things that the steps is like a half an inch long.
A lot of those places are like that now. The 23 previously announced tour dates are already sold out, so they added these 17 additional ones.
Cities. They're going to take a whole year. They're going to end up taking a whole year because the shows are every other night because Alex can't play every night in and out.
Totally. Yeah. Makes sense. And it would, then you could get more. I mean, why not? You don't need to play every night when you're that old. Like it just ruins the experience. Like we're talking about, you want to stay fresh and alive. So good for them though. And then the last thing I had, Kev, was, I know we already talked about Green Day. We should have segued into this, but American Idiot was crowned the biggest rock album of the 21st century.
Right. That's crazy, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's to celebrate National Album Day 2025. The official charts. I guess it's a UK thing.
Yeah, it's a UK thing. Yeah.
So, but yeah, they released in 2004. 2.6 million UK chart units through combined sales and streams.
20 years ago.
Talking about time flying, right?
That is crazy.
And you know what number 2 was? Linkin Park's landmark debut, Hybrid Theory.
Lost generation, man. It was a lost
The highest placed British release is The Darkness.
Oh, that was a great song.
Permission to Land 1.45, which takes
sounded like
number 3.
AC/DC or something. That was a great song.
Evanescence was number 4. Muse, Black Holes and
Wow.
Revelations was number 5.
Interesting.
Muse and Foo Fighters each claim 4 albums in the top 40, while Nickelback places 3. Meanwhile, My Chemical Romance, who placed the Black Parade at number 6, are headed out on UK tour. Impressive. Okay, there you go. So Green Day's American Idiot.
Lost Generation. There we go. All right. If you're watching this later somewhere and you can, leave a comment. If you're watching this on volume, thank you for joining us. We're going to start sending out an email to y'all so you are aware, because I feel like I've missed Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. We need to do more of getting that out there. But did you see real quick, Kev? I'm just going to throw this in there because it's just popped up on my feed. But there's an article in the LA. Oh, this is a while ago, though, about artists leaving Spotify. But because I know you had mentioned what's his name.
Right. Let's get into that with Mike on Wednesday.
Yeah. I think
he can provide some, since we all deal in jam bands that a lot of them now are on Spotify, but I don't think necessarily rely on Spotify. So removing your stuff, all right, you're losing the pizza for rehearsal, or whatever it is. Tuesday night, we got Makita is coming on. We're going to look at Europe 98 summer tour. It's only 9 shows. We ran through it. Scott and I decided to do all of summer 98, including the United States part, which is long. It's probably going to have to be 2 parts, but it's our new thing. If he can make it, is going to be joining us and acting as moderator, making sure that Scott and I don't get into it over the Prague Ghost or something like that. And
get into it too much.
Yeah, and we'll be back Friday.
We will be back Friday. Have a great week. God, Friday feels so long from now. It's so depressing.
See ya.
Yeah.
What's up, dog?
Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.